Hey folks, have you ever had homemade beef jerky? If you had, you'll know how much more delicious and more flavorful it is than the store-bought kind. Once you have it, you probably will never go back. We start with about a 4-pound London broil. London broil is kind of an inexpensive cut. It has very, very lean beef, very little fat in it, and that's what you want. You can use pretty much any cut you like, but the less fat the better. This was only $6 a pound, very little fat, slices nicely, all around just a great choice. So go ahead and pat that dry with a paper towel. I like to cut mine in half just to make it a little bit more manageable on the cutting board because it is a large piece of meat. Go ahead and slice it into cuts about 1/8 of an inch thick. You don't want it any thinner than that or it will be really crispy, and certainly don't want it thicker than that or it will be just too chewy and will take way too long to dry. Imperfection in the meat, such as this, I don't know if it's silver skin or what, but just go ahead and cut anything like that off. I think that is silver skin. And maybe a little fat as well. You can certainly do this when it's in one piece, but for whatever reason, this cut of meat, I thought it was easier to do it individually. Now this is important. Put everything into a glass bowl. A glass bowl, not a stainless steel bowl, not anything else, not a metal pot, not anything but glass. The chemicals that are going to be used will react with everything but glass. Glass is inert, it won't hurt a thing. And go ahead and chop up your other side. See how I'm trying to get some of that silver skin and fat off? It just didn't really work well in this particular cut of meat. Most primals it does though. Notice the blade I'm using is not a typical butcher's knife. It's much wider and it helps keep your slices even when you're slicing thicker and larger cuts of meat. Now let's open up our beef jerky kit. I bought this at Bass Pro Shop. You can find it at Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. I'll be sure to put a link in the description below. Each brand, each kit you buy basically has two different packages. One package is nothing but flavoring, and in this case this is original, but I've tried the hickory, I've tried the teriyaki, it's all delicious. Go ahead and give the flavoring a good shake. Stir it in and use a cup of water or whatever your directions call for. Now this is a curing agent. This is what you do not want to get on anything stainless steel. That's why the glass is so important here. This kit calls for a cup of water. Pour that in, and the best way to mix this up is just use your hands. You're going to get them dirty. Don't worry about it. After this process, of course, wash your hands thoroughly, but you're still going to smell like beef jerky for a few days. I've tried using a spoon, I've tried using the tongs, but your hands really are the best tool for this job. Next, we're going to add everything to a Ziploc bag so that it can marinate overnight. It needs to be a 1 gallon size. Anything larger would actually be helpful. The easiest way is just to pick it up. I like to pick it up by 1 or 2 pieces at a time just to make sure you have good coverage of the marinade and the curing agent. Now notice how this red meat is already starting to brown. That's normal. Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, it's gooey. Smells delicious. Now you can really tell how the meat is already starting to turn brown. That's perfectly normal. It's the curing agent doing its job. The next part is just to spread it out on your air dryer, your dehydrator. You want to make this as one layer as best as you can with as very little overlay as you can. If you have pieces that are overlapping, the overlapping pieces just won't dry as fast or as evenly. See the piece in the bottom right hand corner? It's kind of red. That's where the marinade and the brine didn't get, the curing agent did not get on the meat as well as it should have. It will still dry, it will still be good, but it could be better. It seems to be easier to go around in a circle with the bigger pieces. On my dehydrator, I'll get about 3 rows, and then it's easier just to work in the smaller pieces with the space that's not already covered. We're going to speed the video up here a bit, but basically just add another layer and then repeat, add another layer, repeat. My dehydrator has 4 layers, shelves, racks, whatever you want to call them, and it takes every bit of it to fill it. Well, 4 pounds will fill every bit of it up. You can also make this with ground beef. Be sure that you use very low fat content, like a 90-10 blend or even higher. If you can find that, 95-5 blend, if that's even a thing. They make a kit, and I'll put a link to it in the description, where you squirt the meat out in basically what is a caulking gun, and it makes these little strips. I've done it both ways. Both ways are delicious. You really can't go wrong. But something about the whole meat beef jerky I really like. Has a better texture, better all around, I think. But the other is softer, it's chewier. Nothing can complain about that. And what I'm doing here, midway through the drying process, about 4 hours, I'm just rotating the top to the bottom, bottom to the top. And it turns out I had a couple of these racks upside down, so I fixed that. Notice how that's not fitting very well. I figured it out. It had been a long time since I dehydrated anything, but the results were still excellent. Basically, I am flipping the beef jerky where you have your edges touching each other. They tend to stick together. So just pull those apart. You just don't want it touching. You just don't want it bunched up against each other. But halfway through, you should be able to rectify that problem if it is. Yep, those are stacked nice and neatly. Okay, not really, but I did figure it out. Not a big deal. The airflow still got through. Everything was dried nicely. And at the end of the day, we had some incredible beef jerky to eat. There's a lot of different models of dehydrators on the shelf at the stores. This one I like tremendously because it was a gift, aka free. I've never had any problems with it. It's awesome. I'll put a link in the description. Can't say anything about the others, haven't tried them, but this one is works really well. And now we get to harvest. Notice I put a paper towel in the bottom of the bag. That's just to absorb any excess oil. Shouldn't be a whole lot, but there will be a little bit. And when you put these in the fridge, store them with the bag open at least the first night, and that's going to let any excess air escape, and it will store a little bit better that way. I have no idea how long these are good for, but in my house it lasts less than a week because we eat them. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, I ask you to please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Enjoy.